Steve Jones with the Hardscape channel. I've convinced Dean Jurik to stick around and answer some important questions about contractors in the hardscape industry. Dean, help me out here. What's your perspective of contractors' involvement in the industry and their importance?
Well, I just finished my role as chairman of the marketing committee in ICPI, and the big issue really, Steve, was going back to the concept of system. In other words, we can make a billion pavers, but unless we have contractors who can install those pavers, and have that marriage between the two things, we're not going to go anywhere. And we are now moving back to that concept where, in other words, I am going to produce the paver, certified contractor is going to install the paver, and we're going to have a system that works well. And that's kind of where we're going back to, and I think that's really important.
Skills training.
Mm-hmm.
It's a vocation. It's a skill.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you see ICPI taking its education? It's never left the presentation mode.
Right. Well, look, at some point or other, we can either set the bar where you could stumble over the bar, or we can set the bar where it's going to require some skill to do so. And really, in the past, I think we've set the bar at a point where you could get over it anyway, right? And I think, just like we do, we raise our skill level in whatever we do. And I think that's what we have to help contractors do, is to raise their skill level.
It's interesting that in the last few years, being involved with the Coast Guard Auxiliary, that it's actually changed my focal point on learning things, because they force us to go through education, skills, both skills and learning and knowledge learning. And some of it, you got to drag me kicking and screaming to learn new stuff, because I've got an attitude that, well, I know everything already.
Right.
I think we all do, maybe a little bit
just
in some areas.
Bit, yes.
But once you get past that, and once you start to experience quality knowledge and quality education, it's enlightening. It fills you with great ideas, and I find it extremely enjoyable again. So I think, and maybe I'm wrong, but a lot of contractors avoid the concept of education because it makes them feel weird.
Look, I think we're all in that situation. I think, first off, we like to think we know what we're doing, right? I mean, that's number one. And second, a lot of times we think, well, why should I be taking this training program? Because I've been installing these things for a long time. I know everything there is to know about it. I kind of relate this back to football. I do football coaching, right? And even when I was playing football after college, you still started the year off with, how do I get in a stance? You know what I mean? So I think we, every once in a while, have to go back, even if we know everything there is to know.
To the basics.
Go back to it and understand why we do these things, why they're important, and why it makes our job better and maybe easier, maybe safer. So I think there's advancements. There's also rules and regulations from, again, using OSHA maybe as an example, that change on a regular basis. So you have to keep abreast of those sorts of things. And I think, and the last thing, and I think most important, is I may be the best contractor in the world. I may be the guy that can do the job the best way possible, but I don't know how to manage my money. I don't know how to take care of billing. I don't know how to take care of human resources. To be honest, to have all those skill sets is pretty difficult, right?
It's daunting.
It's awful. And you wouldn't want me doing brain surgery or accounting, right? I know this about me. And
let me see your hands. Yeah.
So anyway.
No.
So I guess the point
no
here.
sharp objects.
I guess the point here is to understand what your weaknesses are, but you don't know those until you're actually presented with where you are. So again, I would endorse everyone, whether you think you understand there is everything to know about what you do or not, to at least review things on a regular basis.
Excellent point. And I hope the contractors and everyone else for that matter keeps an open view to accepting education, even knowing that there'll be a few bumps in the road and you won't get the satisfaction perhaps, but all in all, education continues to keep back those dark borders of creativity so that you can go out and think beyond where you're at today.
Well, and I think, look, to be honest, we've all been in a situation where we knew what the right thing was to do, and yet we decided, for one reason or another, that we're going to do something else. Maybe we ran out of something at the end, and look, all those things that occasionally I think we have to be reminded of why they matter, right?
True. It never hurts to hit home base again.
In more ways than one. So,
Dean, thank you so much.
Thank you, Steve. It's a pleasure.
This is the Hardscape channel signing out.